Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Alan Barty.
I'm Talon Jones.
And I'm Kayla Benson.
And in this episode, we'll be discussing movies that make us hungry, which are Spirited Away, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and was it Hook? Ooh, Hook. Ooh. This is going to be the verdict. Spoilers ahead. Have you ever watched a scene from a movie and became really hungry? What about films that make up food that make you wish you live in those movies? What's the deal with blue milk? I have no idea. Films that evoke all sorts of emotions and hunger can be one of them. We'll be reviewing movies that go over specific scenes and hopefully ones that not make us too hungry. Hopefully. This man hasn't eaten yet. The first movie we're going to be discussing is Spirited Away.
こんなとこに町がある。まだ行くの？お父さん帰ろうよ。ねえ。誰もいないね。ねえ帰ろう。お店の人に怒られるよ。お母さん、お父さん。嘘！夢だ！夢だ！お母さん！お父さん！お父さん帰ろう！帰ろうお父さん！
And welcome back. While watching the movie, it did kind of, wet my taste bud just a little bit. The funny thing is I had like Japanese food the other day. It was really good. I got it from the mall. You should try it sometime. But the thing I will say about this movie is that this movie really does, like any other Studio Ghibli movie, really is like, man, I'm just hungry for some Japanese food. That looks so good.
Even their sadder movies, like the one you recommended several weeks ago, Grave of the Fireflies, even that one, the food they had in that, like the rice cakes they had and the chicken, even that was appetizing. In this movie, the food is everywhere.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is about like animation when it comes to food, but it just looks like the most. They just make it so big and juicy. You just want to bite it, but you can't really do it because again, it's just a picture on the moving screen. But pretty much the premise of this movie is that you have a little girl who, her and her family accidentally get lost trying to find their new house that they moved into this new town. And what happens is that they come up across this, which appears to be kind of like maybe an abandoned amusement park or like a bathhouse town. And pretty much all this food is like all around this table. And the mother and the father, they pretty much dive in and eat everything. But because they ate food that was meant for the spirits, they pretty much turned the pigs to be killed and slaughtered and pretty much eaten. And I don't know, this movie, when it first started out, I was like, wow, again, this food just looks very like delicious.
there were parts where like I think her dad actually had like a dumpling. They both had these full plates of food, and I was like, it's so mouth-watering. And he literally had this dumpling. I don't think he even chewed it. I think he literally inhaled the dumpling.
Even the mama, like they were just slurping everything down.
But they were literally like inhaling it like it was oxygen. Like they were drinking hard food. Like I'm like, do you use your teeth or is your mouth just a vortex when you enter this world? And I actually did like a nice little detail in the animation. As they were eating, as they were pigging out, you could actually see them progressively getting fatter and fatter to the point where and eventually you do see them as pigs, but you actually see them growing as they're eating. Mm-hmm. So it was actually a really nice touch, something that you might not even notice in your first viewing.
What I like is, I think what makes it really appealing is like the colors that they use and like the way they make the food look. So like when they take a bite, you kind of like see the like string of cheese or like the juices and stuff. And that, I think that's what makes it even more appealing, is because we see it and we can like almost taste it, but not really, if that makes sense.
I just realized, and this is actually a very deep and philosophical and wonderful movie, and we're just talking about the food.
Yeah, but I feel like the food has a very kind of like the food is theme like throughout.
Honestly, I think that Miyazaki, the guy who basically runs Studio Ghibli and directs all these movies, I think he's just a foodie. Like the guy must know good food, because practically every movie he's done, there's some emphasis on the food. Even like Grave of the Fireflies, they emphasize the food in that very well. Ponyo, one of the most famous lines is her going, ham! Like, she really wants ham throughout the movie. So it's like, I think that Miyazaki, I think he's a foodie. Like,
I mean, and they even use food in the very emotional scenes, you know.
Yeah.
Like when she's trying to find, like when she saw her parents, and her parents again turn to pigs, and they're all in those like pig coops and everything. And like the other main character, he like gives her food to try to cheer her up, be like, hey, you have to eat food in this world in order for you to be in this world. So they use food in a very, like spiritual, and I don't know, I just feel like they just use food in a great amount to like tell the story. I mean, they don't have to do that, but the fact that, hey, you have to eat something to be in this world, or the fact that you have, I forgot his name, it's like the shadow figure with the mask.
No Face.
Like No Face, how he pretty much becomes gluttonous at the end.
Even when he's eating frogs, part of me is like, frog legs. It's like, my God, even the way he eats people, eats spirits, even that somehow makes the spirits appetizing somehow.
But the thing is, he kind of ruined.
Is that even possible?
But the thing is, he kind of ruined my appetite toward the end, because he started barfing up everything.
When he starts barfing, yeah, that's where I draw the line.
And I was like, no, I'm not hungry no more.
That's where I drew the line. But when he was actually eating them, I was like, I'm ashamed to say, but I'd want to eat a fucking frog now. He made it look appetizing somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's because you just saw how much he enjoyed it. Okay. Oh, this is getting messed up.
Okay, do we need to give you some frog legs? What's going on now?
Well, my grandpa used to make really good frog legs. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. You know that?
Oh, yeah, frog legs are really good. I haven't had them in a while, but if you make them right, they're wonderful. Especially with the right spices to them.
You know, I grew up on like oxtail. Sorry to cut you off. What were you saying?
I was going to say, I think what helps is we kind of relate to the idea of eating food, like no matter what, if that makes sense. So like in each situation, like you said, even in like the emotional situations, they're like food. And I'm like, I know when I'm in an emotional situation, I'm going to be eating food. So like, I guess that's like one of the relatable parts.
Like the fastest way to joy, basically. Like, if you're feeling angry or sad, like, I don't recommend constantly eating when you're feeling down. At times, it can be great. You know, when it can help you get through a bad situation, but it's not something to constantly go through, so.
Well, now that we're done with the very, good Japanese food, let's get into something nasty next movie. Let's look at Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. Ugh.
Come on, dude. Just take one hit. Don't you want to be cool? Hey, man. What are you doing? I'm so high. No!
Just say no.
I love that shit.
Harold never got too far with the ladies.
The only girls who are interested in me are girls I have no interest in.
Kumar never got much respect.
I will not tolerate this business from you any longer.
Dad, come on.
Daddy is not coming on anything.
But tonight,
In the next couple of hours, I expect both of us to be blitzed out of our skulls.
they're going on a trip.
I want the perfect food.
Are you hungry? Head over to White Castle. It's what you crave.
They'll never remember.
I forgot my cell phone.
You want to run back and get it?
No, we've gone too far.
This summer,
Just thinking about those tender little White Castle burgers makes me want to burn this mother down. Come on, Boogie, let's burn this mother down! Let's burn it!
they're going to discover what they're made of,
So, are you boys gonna date me now or what?
what they're up against,
Thank you, come again.
and who they're dealing with.
Are you Neil Patrick Harris?
Yep. We've just been driving around looking for White Castle.
Forget White Castle, let's go get some strippers.
Neil, you don't understand. We've been craving these burgers all night.
I've been craving burgers too. Fur burgers.
Lap dance.
New Line Cinema presents that Asian guy from American Pie.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
I'm trimming my pubes.
Hey.
Makes your Johnson look totally bigger.
And that Indian guy from Van Wilder.
Thank God I found you. We have an emergency.
You happen to know how to get to the White Castle?
Yeah.
But why?
From that white guy who directed
Dude, where's my car?
Where's his car, dude?
comes the feel-good movie of the year.
Let's roll here. How about a foursome? Who wants to first reach around?
Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
So this is a 2004 stoner comedy starring John Chow and Cal Penn. And I know what you're thinking. Why White Castle? Honestly, I don't know. Personally, I don't like White Castle, but this movie honestly made me want to eat White Castle a little bit. But despite the fact that White Castle is disgusting, they make you want to crave it.
I mean, to an extent.
To
I
an
don't know.
extent, yeah.
Even when I saw some clips of this movie, I was like, no, even the White Castle looked just gray and slimy sometimes.
Maybe it's just the experience of when you're with a friend and you get the munchy munch attacks and, you know, you just want something. Just that they keep talking about it's not about the burgers. It's not about White Castle. It's about the craving. It's about getting the thing that you desire most in that moment. Because there's also a scene where they have a couple friends who are also smoking weed at the same time. And they're like, oh, we really want these hot dogs from this particular place. And they actually come across those same people driving to this hot dog place, and they see them eating and go like, see? You see that satisfaction in their face of getting exactly what they want? That's what we need right now. That's how we make this night better. And it's like, just that idea when you're with a friend and you're really craving like Burger King or Pizza Hut or something, there's something about it. It does grab you where you're like, it's all you can think about suddenly. And this movie does capture that really well. Plus, it's actually just a funny movie. Like, everyone was expecting this to be a crappy stoner comedy, even with the trailer. But it ended up being a big financial hit. And it was even loved by critics, of all people. Like, they actually genuinely liked the movie. So...
That must have been bribed with White Castle.
Potentially, but White Castle is not a good chain. They're kind of a joke in the restaurant industry. And apparently, I always heard a rumor that they were the last choice from the filmmakers saying, oh, we wanted McDonald's. They said no, they didn't want to be in a stoner comedy. We wanted Burger King. They said no, we didn't want to be in a stoner comedy. White Castle was our last choice. But apparently, recently reading up on it, apparently it was because the writer of the movie really did, when he was in college, when he started coming up with the concept of the movie, he was hanging out with a friend and he suddenly was craving White Castle, but there was no White Castle in that state where he was in college. So he was asking family members to bring him White Castle whenever they come to visit, but they would like freeze them and bring him for wherever they were so he could like eat them with his friends. That's where he got the idea. And apparently he got the rights to use White Castle in the movie early on, like before he even pitched the film. He already had the rights. That shows how desperate White Castle is to be in something. Like even the commercial in the movie, I've never seen a White Castle commercial like that. I don't think I've ever even seen any White Castle commercials.
No, I don't really see. I mean, I see some advertising on the internet,
like-
but not really like
I might
advertising
have
like a McDonald's or a Burger King.
Like, I might have seen a couple, but yeah, never like McDonald's or Burger King, especially as a kid and when this movie came out. This movie was the biggest advertisement that White Castle ever had. I'm pretty sure the reason why White Castle's still around today is because of Harold and Kumar. And this ended up spawning 2 sequels. So yeah, I'm really thinking some people go there just because they like the Harold and Kumar movies. Which, to be fair, there are worse things to be associated with. You can be associated with frying a chicken head like McDonald's is.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked the movie because, I don't know, I found it really funny how it kind of like sets up the whole thing. Like, it doesn't even mention White Castle until maybe like 20 minutes in. And then from there, it's just about White Castle, if that makes sense, which I thought was really funny. Because like the first like 20 minutes, you're like introducing the characters and you're getting to know them. And you're like, all right, what does this have to do with White Castle? And then as soon as they mention White Castle, that's all they talk about for like the rest. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes of like the entire movie. So for the other hour,
Yeah,
it's just,
even on all the detours, they keep saying, come on, we got to go to White Castle. And one of the funniest things is the way one guy describes White Castle. He's like, those little buns and stuff. And I'm like, nobody describes White Castle this way.
Come on,
To
man.
be honest, that
Come on,
makes
those
it...
crispy buns and that succulent like patties and that slime. Don't you like the slime?
the only thing they got right was describing the onions. I will say that. They did describe the onions really, really well.
Well, I think some people like to say the fact that it is White Castle is what makes it so funny. Like, that makes it's part of the joke, because there were some people, myself included, never heard of White Castle before this movie.
No.
I didn't know it was a real restaurant, so...
Well, let's talk about something not gross. Let's head into our imagination, as they say. When we come back, let's introduce Hook.
The stories are true. He's come back to seek his revenge. Only you can save your children. You must make yourself remember.
Remember what?
Peter, don't you know who you are?
Have to fly. Have to fight. Have to crow. Have to save Maggie. Have to save Jack. Okay, back. Who?
Let's fly!
Oh my God, where are we going?
To Never Never Land.
I hate Peter Pan.
So Hook is a 1991 adventure film starring Robin Williams as Peter as he goes back to Neverland to save his kids. The imagination scene is what always made me like hungry as a kid, but when I like look back at it now, I kind of think what it was is the texture of like the food, because like they showed like chicken and like fruits and vegetables and stuff, but it was like all the like pink and like green and blue stuff that they had everywhere. I can't tell if it was meant to be cake, ice cream, or pudding.
Honestly, I didn't even remember there was chicken or any other food. I thought it was just that colorful goo. What I thought it was, and I completely understood why you said this made you hungry, it reminded me of Trix yogurt.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
I
what,
love Trix yogurt.
especially the pink and blue. I was thinking, that looks like Trix. I want Trix. Silly rabbit. Tricks for kids. I'm no longer a kid, so I can't eat Trix.
Maybe I get this man his tricks. But,
I can't. I'm an adult now.
But the thing is, like, I always remember this scene because I remember before this, they did the whole thing of, like, you know, one of the kids being like, oh, and everything. And it was like, I wonder what they're eating. But then it goes to this, like, pink goop and everything. I'm like, wait, what is this? Like, I don't know, maybe part of me was kind of disappointed because I was expecting burgers and fries and chicken and
Stuff
pizza.
that kids would likely eat, but it likely is like cake or something.
Yeah.
It's like, man, these kids must rot their teeth out. I guess Neverland,
My
I guess.
main idea was like, it is canonically imagination. Are these kids starving?
Yeah.
That's the twist.
Like, because part of me is like, okay, if you believe, is it actually real? Does it actually give you nutrients and fill your stomach up? Or is it literally all in your head and these kids are going through malnourishment we're going back to Grave of the Fireflies and Neverland.
No, we're not doing that. But I will say is that, okay, like, the whole thing is like, hey, if you think of happy thoughts, you can fly. And I guess you can imaginary food, it's there.
And it actually will fill your stomach up and resuscitate.
What I think is like the reason why we were expecting it to be burgers and like chicken and all that is because I feel like they were imagining those foods, and then for some reason Peter was imagining ice cream or yogurt or whatever it was. I think that's what it is, because he was like I think the entire reason why he started seeing food was because he was imagining like splattering something on the other kid, because he started a food fight. So I think that's why he was imagining that kind of food, is because he was like, I want to make a mess, therefore this food makes a mess. So that's probably all he was seeing. But I don't know if that's just like overthinking it or whatever, but I don't know. I just know that I would see it and be like, I want whatever that is. I don't know what it is, but like I can see the texture and I know how it feels in my head and I want it, but I don't know any food that has that.
Like I said, it just seemed like for me it was Trix and I guess cake mix. That's what it looked like to me, and that's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing, in fact. I think the idea of you imagine the food and suddenly being able to taste it, that also drives you, because now, everything ever since I saw that scene, I would remember how like pizza would taste, and like while I'd be in class in like first grade or something, I would suddenly be like imagining I was eating pizza, and suddenly I was tasting it. I felt like I was chewing it. And that just made me more hungry. I think this movie, I blame that full-heartedly. That
so there you go. If you're so hungry, imagine something and you'll be fine. Why are you
makes you
complaining it to me?
It makes you more hungry, though.
But imagination, Talon. Think of the possibilities.
Yeah, I guess what it helps that like if you can imagine it, then you know exactly what you want. So then that way when you do get it, it's 10 times better. Because that's how I am. Like I'll like plan like three days in advance and be like, on this day I'm going to eat a burrito, and for every day I'll imagine that burrito, and then I finally get that burrito and it's perfect. It just helps. It really does.
I just go where my stomach tells me to go. I go by cravings. Like, I'm craving 20 cheeseburgers right now. I'm gonna go eat 20 cheeseburgers.
Oh, so that's why you pick Harold and Kumar.
That's exactly the reason. You've never had the late night munchy munch attacks with your buddies, have you?
I mean, I do, but I make my own.
No, we can't. We're too lazy.
Well,
We can, but when we're having a late night munchy munch attack, the last thing you want to do is turn on the stove.
See, I plan ahead. If I know that's gonna happen, I have a whole snack table for it.
And it's all because of imagination started by Robin Williams in Hook, which in of itself is already a great movie. It's so much imagination. It actually got panned by critics.
Oh, why?
I don't know. They absolutely despised this movie, but audiences really liked it for good reason.
Kids can't imaginary food.
Yeah.
This is a movie definitely made for kids. It knew its audience. Like the Lost Boys you were seeing, that was this movie's audience, and I think it captured it perfectly, especially with the food scene is considered probably the most famous scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Like that's when Peter was no longer just Peter anymore. He was back to being the Pan. that's when he suddenly was embracing his inner child. And that was like a big turning point in the movie. It wasn't just a random dinner scene like a lot of movies have. Every movie has some kind of meal scene. This one actually incorporated the meal scene into a main plot. Like, that was like the main turning point. I think it was the end of the second act, in fact.
Yeah.
That was when we were going into the rising action.
Yeah, so pretty much, like, it's not about, hey, I'm just about to make food. It's pretty much, like, get in touch with your inner child, you know, learn to have fun again. Like, really get into your imagination. Stop being an old fart, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Be
especially
Robin
because
Williams, not Robin Williams.
it was Tinkerbell that like got him to like understand what he was meant to do as well in that scene, because she kept being like, you have to imagine, like, and
This
then
used to be your favorite game, Peter.
Yeah.
If you don't imagine, you're gonna starve, Peter.
Yeah,
this was
pretty
your
much.
favorite game because you were so malnourished before.
Oh man, this thing got a dark turn. Ugh.
Childhood malnourishment, it's real.
Ugh. Well, y'all, that's all the time we have for today. Tune in next Thursday for our new episode. This has been The Verdict. Thank you for watching. Grab something to eat, and I hope y'all have a good day.